first thing I want to do is I want to empower you guys to stand up just for a minute. I feel like stand up. Let's get some movement going on here. Shake it out. We've been sitting for a long time. Go. Okay. Okay, I feel better. Thank you. So I'm going to be talking about people empowered by platforms. And I just used the platform of my mic to empower you guys to change your situation. So it was a good example. So if we think about how cities have been built, this was the way they used to be built. Everyone is doing their own thing. It's very chaotic. There's a lot of activity, very little structure. Then came along people like Osman, who said, you know what, that craziness, I need to get my tanks through there. We're building some big streets. And it resulted in a beautiful Paris, as we know. But I think if you were to do that today, this is a picture of some of Osman's work. I don't think you could get away with that. Today, we wouldn't accept someone like Osman just saying, here you go. What we have replaced that with is bureaucrats in big government buildings who decide how our cities might look, and they've done all the zoning and the planning. And we people are taking back the fight. This is Canal Saint-Martin, and homelessness is an issue. And so people are getting together and protesting and trying to make their voices heard. But what we do know is, of course, that the internet is the most fabulous way to give people power and give them voice. And let me move on a little bit. So if we think of Google, Facebook, and YouTube, if we had been talking 5 years ago, every single conference you went to like this, they were talking about these companies, why they were fabulous, what had happened, how quickly they were growing. I want to put this in a different lens, the one that I look at it as. I think about these companies as using my searches to become fabulous, my friends, and my videos. And it's thanks to the stuff that we put on, it's our excess capacity, things that we carried with us, that those became fabulous companies. So these are really people-powered items. We think of the open data movement, which I care a lot about and I love, but I've been watching it with some concern as I go to conferences like this. This was from a conference where a major city in the US, the CIO of that city was saying, look what we did. We opened up our data set with our government data, and look at that. We got 47 websites, 17 iPhone and Facebook apps in 30 days. We got $2.3 million worth of value, and it only cost us $50,000. And I had to block out their name because I like the open data movement. We should absolutely have more of it. But what I don't like the idea of is everyone thinking, wow, you guys give us all this free stuff, and we'll just take it. It's great. We just keep going along, and it's good for us. So are people being taken advantage of? How long can we keep going in the future where everyone gives their stuff for free and we get nothing back? I think Adam, on his list of things that had to happen, one was when you contributed your data, you got some value back. It wasn't the big company taking it, never even telling you that they're using it, and selling it. So does everything have to be for free? So where is the sustainable economy? I think we're in a very, very high pace of transition world today, and we're learning and doing things at incredible speeds. But one of the things I think we have at this moment to capture is to make sure that we build a sustainable economy, and that we don't think of everything being for free, and we don't think of ourselves as things to be taken advantage of. So we have the next wave of things. So Wikipedia, it's my knowledge, and luckily I'm getting the benefit of that. So it's my extra intellect and my free time, and all of us that put our stuff online. eBay, I can sell my junk. And photos, I put my Flickr up, and I can use other people's photos if I give them copyright, and they can use mine. And it's a very great world. And so I think of these platforms as people empowered. And it'll be interesting to hear the translation. But so this is a place where I'm very interested in building things, in building platforms that empower people. And we see a rise of a whole bunch of these right now. Some examples. So here is Meetup, which surprisingly isn't very big in France, but they're 10 years old, 7.2 million members. They meet in 45,000 cities, 250,000 a month. So people decide what they want to talk about. They go to Meetup and they say, where do you want to meet? Let's meet at this spot. And it's a very quick way of meeting up. This is Etsy. So founded in 2006, 1.5 million items in 150 countries. Etsy is I put the things that I made myself online. I can't sell anybody else's stuff, just my own stuff. So it's my stuff marketplace, handmade stuff. Waze, I can use my smartphone and give my trips and my route and my speeds to contribute to everyone else's knowledge of what are the best traffic sites. Nokia does this now, and they're stealing my stuff. Here, Waze is doing it, and they're giving it back to me. Here is Airbnb. Everyone knows about this, founded just 3 years ago, and I wrote on my hand because since this slide, someone sent me an article. They have 130,000 listings in 3 years. It's in 15,000 cities and 184 countries in just 3 years. Couch surfing, this is, of course, the mother of all of these sites. And in case you guys don't know couch surfing, it's when I put my own extra spare bedroom onto the couch surfing platform, and people can stay at my house for free. So who in their right mind, what kind of place would you be going to stay at? And so maybe you'll be stuck at the cat lady's house. Or since it's couch surfing, the real couch surfing cat lady, to give men with dogs equal time, you could be staying at this guy's house. But what really the people who have put their houses on couch surfing are people like these that I just took in seconds off of the website, that they look like they came out of, some iPhoto stock thing. And of course, me, I did some research, and so people could stay at my house as well, and they did. So if we think about what couch surfing did, I think of it as bed sharing. Remember, I'm putting my extra bed, I'm sharing my beds. And I want to compare, here are the largest hotels which we can think of as bed sharing because they are effectively the same thing. This is how long it took them to get to be the largest ones. The Intercontinental Hotel is the largest. In 60 years, they built 4,400 hotels in 100 countries. And just think of the level of effort, the amount of financing, all the work that went into building those hotels. And we compare that with couch surfing, 8 years old, 1.2 million couches, 237 countries in 71,000 cities. And just to bring those numbers together for you, what couch surfing accomplished in 8 years is twice the volume of what it took the Intercontinental to do in 60. I mean, it's just an astounding thing that is happening and that we have on these web platforms. So now to be a little bit academic, as I say, these are people empowering. Thanks to, we now have our new devices, and we all know that this is going to transform the world even more than before. That we have the internet, which is the world's knowledge. How fabulous is that? And now when I walk around with my device, I have access everywhere I go to the world's knowledge. And now I have the ability to pick and choose and find very, very local and customized things at the tip of my fingers without huge transaction costs. Finding very specific things is no longer the problem it used to be. So what we see going on is that I put my excess capacity, I contribute that and put that onto a common platform. And when I do that, you're not just getting Robin's empty bed in her house. In fact, you get to come up the stairs, sit in my nice living room, eat at my kitchen, and also get the bed. You get the entire asset, not just the little tiny piece that's unused. And because people are putting their own stuff into it, we don't have to, the economics are completely transformed. I don't have to source that stuff. I don't have to make a good return on investment for it. I don't have to finance it. I don't have to do any of those things. Taking this excess capacity means I have this world of possibility. For me, this is the most, for those of you who want to be innovators, if I were giving another talk, this is the place to look for excess capacity because the economic situation is completely transformed, and leverage that excess capacity. And all those companies I've talked to before have done that. And because it's on a common platform, it's fully scalable. And of course, if you know me, I care a lot about the environment and our future. And what's really fabulous about using this excess capacity is, of course, that we're using resources much, much more efficiently. We can do this thing I call collaborative consumption. We can do dematerialization because I'm using a service instead of an asset. I'm more service-focused than asset-focused. and we're moving from this old economy to a new economy. The thing that I'm doing now is called buzzcar, and it is car sharing, of course, with the same exact concept, but people are putting their own cars, and small companies are putting their cars, and towns and cities can put their own vehicles, their excess and idle capacity into the common platform. And so if Zipcar was very successful because I was looking at that as an owner perspective, that why should I own a car when I know it sits idle 95% of the time? With buzzcar, I'm saying, let's use your car. I don't want to have to make the investment, because when I have to make the investment, I'll only put the cars in dense urban areas. This way, the cars can be anywhere. If they're used once a year, great. If they're used 3 times a day, fabulous too. So with this, what we have is a collaboratively built infrastructure. With buzzcar, I'm hoping that we can build throughout France a fleet of cars everywhere that you guys can use on demand to go round trip as much time as you want, that you don't have to own your own cars, and if you feel like you're a person who has to own a car, you can be the person whose car goes in. So it's a collaboratively financed infrastructure. We don't have to pay for it individually, we pay for it all together and contribute to it together. And end users gain financially. So I, as a person who don't have a car, I don't have to spend 6,000 euros a year to buy the entire car, even though I'm only going to use it 5% of the time. And if I've already bought a car and spent 6,000 euros a year doing it, someone else can help me finance that car by contributing 300, 500, 2,000 euros, depending how many people are using my car. So I'm getting that same asset for less. So coming to this, what's important to me is that it's not government saying we can do car sharing in your town or in your city. I don't have to wait for government. I don't have to wait for a private company like Zipcar to decide it's worth my return on investment, because I know, as former CEO of Zipcar, there are many, many, many more places I will not go than I will go. Instead, what we have is autopreneurs, gotta like that, autopreneurs who put their own cars into the system, and if they see any amount of car sharing they want to, if there's any demand for it, they can fill it. So you get the app in 5 minutes, you can put your car onto the map, make it available for others to rent. You can do it for free, wherever you see any kind of demand, and it's really simple. So what kind of people would be putting their cars onto the system? Are we kind of afraid? Same idea as couch surfing, you know, ooh, what kind of people? Well, so they're regular kind of people. And I love this woman's posture. So these are our users. Here's my favorite. I have to tell you, I think he's from the south of France. It's true. And we got this in the other day, so people are excited about it. And then, of course, you know, the question is, so what do the users look like? You know, it's a very frightening thought. What are they going to be like? If I'm the car owner, I'm thinking, are they scary? No, they're not very scary. They look kind of like those of you here and those of us all around. So here is my video. This is the first time I'm trying this because I'm very unsuccessful at using videos online. So I have my excellent helper. So this, listen, il y a du son.
Et zoom pour voir les voitures les plus proches. On peut soit voir les voitures sur la carte, avec un petit résumé des prix, soit sur une liste. Revenons sur la carte. Je peux donc choisir entre une Ford ou une Smart. Je vais choisir la Smart. Je clique pour avoir plus d'informations. Je vois les photos de la voiture. Elle fait 4 places, exactement ce que je recherchais. Je vois les prix. Je réserve. J'indique la date de départ. Mieux vaut choisir un petit délai pour que le propriétaire ait le temps de répondre. Je vais la conduire 3 heures. J'estime le kilomètre afin d'inclure le prix kilométrique qui permet d'inclure l'essence. Je n'ai pas de commentaire. Je valide. Et voilà, la demande a été transmise. Il ne reste plus qu'à attendre la réponse du propriétaire. Et voilà.
So it's quick and easy, and we launched about a month ago. So I'll show you at the end of this what it looks like that now. Thanks. So after every drive, of course, owners rate cars and cars rate owners, so individuals have a history, and you, of course, want to protect your reputation, so you will be a good driver and an excellent owner on both sides and treat everyone nicely. So this this power of diversity and empowered people is very, very dear to my heart, and the brand is built around this. So this is what the buzzcar logo looks like if you think of the power of the hive. And individuals choose their own insect, and they then build their own logo, and they have a logo that they can put on their cars, and as you saw, everyone gets an insect. And here's what they look like. And here's what the suite of insects look like. So this is buzzcar. Of course, car sharing brings strong environmental benefits that also are important to me. People choose car sharing because it's smarter, cheaper, faster than owning their own. And they'll be putting their own cars in, of course, to be getting money. But what we know is that for a very, very well-used car, each car is used by 30 to 50 people, so it changes cities entirely. 40% of those people sell their own cars, and so we have 15 to 20 cars fewer for every well-shared car. That won't happen if I have my car I'm sharing out in some faraway country place. And each well-used car takes away the need for 40 to 60 parking spaces. My favorite part about car sharing, though, that will happen even with buzzcar, as in very distributed, is that people use cars very, very rationally when they have to pay by the hour and by the day. So instead of getting in my car when I'm wishing I had some ice cream, I get in my car and think, I want some ice cream, and I think, actually, I don't want to spend €8 an hour to go buy some ice cream. I'll eat something at home, and tomorrow on my way home from work, I'll get some ice cream. So this is what day 14, we launched, as I say, June 1, and here's how many people had signed up by day 14, and now we're twice that. So it's really exciting, and as I was showing you before, this idea of putting excess capacity onto a common platform really has fabulous growth potential and can change things very quickly. So to summarize, collaboratively built infrastructure, if we think of these cities and using people's own stuff, is what's really, really interesting to me. And that's how we're going to create the people's city. And there's this bonus aspect to it. If we think about instability, I think we're living in a time of instability. I went to business school, and I was always taught if something were centralized, when the business was crummy, well, then you decentralized it. And if it was decentralized, of course, the only solution was to decentralize it. What we know today is that distributed systems are by far the most robust and resilient and redundant. And when we have lots and lots of people everywhere doing things, that's what we get, is very robust and resilient systems. And this is why I'm thinking the future will be better than the present. So how do I think the city will look like at the end of the day? I think of the city as a picnic. We'll be self-organized, semi-organized and ad hoc, very, very diverse. It'll be enjoyed by people of all income levels. And if you think about going to this picnic, some people have brought expensive champagne, they went to the store, everything was pre-bought for them and made for them, and they're having one kind of picnic. Other people are having, I'll go to the American, peanut butter and jelly, and it just took seconds to make and was very cheap. There'll be others who are the fancy connoisseurs who spent 4 hours in the kitchen before and made something lovely. There'll be others who sold that lovely meal to someone else. But we'll have a really diverse city. I feel like today, the industrialization has made us think that scale is where profit comes from, and it does, but that scale was only available through this huge homogenization, that everything looked alike. Today, with the internet and with what I think is going to be this people-powered economy being layered in, we can have extreme customization and extreme localization that is also equally scalable, as we saw with Couchsurfing and Airbnb and hopefully buzzcar one day. So we'll have all of those things mixed into the city, and it's up for us to grab this opportunity and go with it. So internet plus smartphones plus openness, as was talked about before me, this is a key piece of it, that we have to be able to get into our cities and be able to make those changes, create empowered people. We can turn complexity into simplicity. And here's my favorite picture that really expresses it for us. And so here's where we are. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. We only have time for one question. We're running late, and we got a few reactions, and actually several reactions. The question that made it to the top is the following. Isn't collaborative consumption only possible in the shadow of traditional consumerism that ensure people a living? Like, are these phenomena condemned to be marginal?
No. I don't think so at all. And I think I just demonstrated that by the size and scale with which we see. So Zipcar has 560,000 users. When I launched it in the US, everyone laughed at me and said, Americans love their cars, they'll never share them. It's now the largest in the world, and car sharing will be happening in every city. It's something that is within self-interest. We see couch surfing, all those people doing that. And I think actually consuming collaboratively is something that comes to us much more naturally, that I think we start collaboratively consuming, and then as we get older, we're thinking that status and rights come when I have things that I own by myself. But what I found with Zipcar is that owning something is not always, and frequently is definitely not, the highest form of ownership. That I'm not the wealthiest person isn't because I bought one fancy car or 3 fancy cars. If you're a wealthy person and are a member of a large network like Zipcar, I have 8,000 cars parked throughout the world. I can drive a different one every single day. Someone else does the maintenance. And that is a much higher status consumption than ownership. So I think we're in a place where we are now looking at it from a different lens, and so I don't think so.
Good news.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Robin Chase.